All right. Take a look at this. You have the same thing in front of your face on your paper. So if you have a hard time seeing the board, you can look at what's in front of you on your paper. These are statistics from the 2015 College Football Heisman Trophy results. Okay. Why doesn't the total, so this last column here, why doesn't this match the rows beside it? So according to this, Trayvon at the bottom got first place once, second place 3 times, third place 4 times, but somehow magically ended up with 13 points. How does that happen? Think about if you run track. Is it better for you to get first place than third? Yeah, of course it is. Okay, so you would get more to have a gold medal than you would to have a silver or bronze. Okay, that's what Borda Count does. So what happens is if you're in third place, we're going to technically quote that as last place. So you would get 1 point. As you get better, you get additional points. So one above that, you would get 2 points. One above that, you would get 3 points. So technically then, Trayvon would get 3 points for this, 6 points for this, and 4 points for this. And what happens when you add 3, 6, and 4? 13. Okay. So why don't you get the total match? Because you have to award points for the different places. Okay. Each place is valued. So of course, if you're in first place, you're going to get the most amount of points. If you're dead last, you're going to get the least amount of points, but you're at least going to get something. Okay, so you don't get a 0. So last place still gives you that 1 point. So how can you always get the correct total for each nominee? It works for everybody. So last place is always given 1 point for every time you're in last. You always get 1 more point for one space above that, and 1 more point for that space above that. And it works every time. Okay. So that's sort of what this next method is going to do. You're actually going to get points now. So our next method doesn't just look at first place. It takes into consideration no matter where you fall in the spectrum. Okay. So calculate the margin of victory in points for the 2009 Heisman Trophy winner. So let's see the difference between Mark Ingram and Toby Gerhart. I don't want to mispronounce it. I don't know anybody that, I don't do college football all that much. And I'm not going to lie, these notes come from a guy that teaches at Mount Tabor. We share. He's a nice guy. Okay. So, again, we always give 1 point to last place. We always give 2 points to the place above that, and 3 points to the place above that. So, figure out how many points that our friend Mark would end up with. How many total points does Mark end up with? 1292. Yep. And what about our dear friend Toby?
1276.
You said 12 what?
76.
1276. Somebody recalculate marks because I got 1304.
I got 1304.
Yeah.
Okay. It might have just been something you plugged in because I had 1304. So how many points did Mark win by? What was their margin of victory?
28.
He was up by 28 points. So Mark won by 28 points. Even though they were actually pretty close in how many times they came in first, second, and third. Okay, so this doesn't just come out of nowhere. They actually use this point system in high school sports. You'll see this in track. You'll see this in swimming. You'll see this in cross country. Okay. Yeah, see? Look at that. Math in real life. I enjoy it. All right. So what you just did is what we call the Borda Count method. Okay. This is called the Borda Count method. And your definition for this is each place or rank on the ballot is assigned a point value in reverse order. So what that means is if you're in last place, you get 1 point. If you're second to last, you get 2 points. If you're third to last, you get 3 points. And it keeps going. So if you have 7 candidates running and you're placing stuff from 1 to 7, your top person would actually get 7 points. Your Borda winner at the end then is the candidate with the highest point value. This is why I had you grab calculators today, because some of these numbers could get quite big. But again, your calculator is only as good as you are. If you don't punch it in right, it's going to do the math wrong. And we talked about this. You will see this method in swimming, in track. Okay. Like you saw yesterday when we talked about the Rose Bowl and the Hula Bowl and where the marching band was going to. Even though the Rose Bowl came in first place the most amount of times, it also came in last place the most amount of times. So the plurality method isn't always a perfect method. So they chose the Borda Count, and what's good about it is it takes into account no matter where you fall. Okay. So this method takes into account more than first place. Why does my board hate me? Okay, so what's good about this method? It takes into account more than first place. Okay, when we do this, I'm going to show you two different ways to do this. Okay, both ways come out to work. It's whatever works best for you. Guarantee you most of you are going to pick the first way that we do this, but some people actually do prefer the second way, so I show both. I don't care which way you use, whichever makes more sense in your head. Either way, you come out to have the right answer. Questions so far? Okay, we got 3 examples, friends. All right, so our first example is the calculation example. Definition of this: the number of votes of a column times each point value and then add up each candidate. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to fill in all the numbers inside the chart, and then we're going to add them up. Okay, so we said if you come in dead last, you're worth 1 point. If you come in next to last, you're worth 2 points. If you come in the next one, you're worth 3 points. And this one will finish at 4 points because we only have 4 candidates. So that means in this first column, you have 14 people that put D dead last. Well, that means we get 1 point for every person. So D has a total of 14 points. C came in third. So each one of these people give out 2 points. So C has 28. If you're really good at your multiplication tables, this should be really easy. Okay, so the next one should end up being 42. And 56. Okay. So what we did there is we took each one of the point values and multiplied by the total number at the top. Okay. You're going to do this for each column. So this second column is multiplication by 10. So we start 10. This one's 2 points, so 20. 3 points, so 30. And 4 points, 40. My next column, we're going to go by 8. So 8, 16, 24, 32. And my last column is 4 points apiece. So 4, 8, 12, and 16. Is everyone good where I got all those numbers from? Okay. Before we pick an actual winner, I need to get a grand total. So I need to know how many total points A has. Okay, so A from the first column has 56 points. From the second column, they get another 10. From that third column, they get 8. And from the last column, they get 4. So A has a total of 78 points. Okay, so you need to get a grand total then for each and every one of these. So we're going to do the same thing for B. B gets 42 points. And the next column, they have 30 points, 16 points, and 16 points. 104. 104. Bless you. C should be 28, 40, 24, and 8. You got 100 for C. And then D has 14, 20, 32, and 12. 78. So once you get everybody's grand total, who's my winner? B.
30, 24, and 12.
Okay. Questions? Problems? Can't figure out where numbers came from. Need me to go back over. Are we sure?
It's 42 plus 30 plus 16 plus 6. It's weird because, like, the writing is like, I've been getting 108 this whole time. Like, I'm shaking.
Oh, is that the issues?
See, look.
Wait.
Why did you put in 12? I saw you put in 12. That's why I put in 12.
All right. At least you figured it out now. All right. So, some people don't like to fill in all those numbers in the chart, okay? They would rather do this algebraically. So, there's a way you can do this with formulas, okay? So, the way we do this, again, fourth place gets 1 point, third place gets 2, second place gets 3, and first place gets 4. So, you can look at this and say, okay, red, you get 4 points for first place. How many times does red come in first place? 11. So they get 4 points 11 times. How many times do they come in second place? None. So 3 points times 0. How many times do they come in third place? 12. So they get 2 points 12 times. And how many times do they come in last? So they get 1 point 8 times.
It's confusing.
You're fine. Let me go back and look at this. Okay. So red came in first here and here. Okay. So that's 5 and 6, which means that's happened 11 times. When they come in first place, they get 4 points. So they get 4 points for 11 times. That's how many times they came in first. Okay, there. Okay. They don't come in second place at all. So they don't get 3 points for anybody. In second place, they come in second place here and here. So that's 12 points altogether. They've got 12 votes. And third place is worth 2 points. So they get 2 points for those 12 votes. And then they come in last place here which is 8 times. So they get 1 point 8 times. Okay. Everybody else okay? Need me to go back over that again? Again, if you don't like this way, you don't have to do it this way. You're welcome to fill in just like we did on the last one. Most people prefer it that way. You like the other way better? Do you want to just go back to that other way instead of doing this way?
Yeah.
Can you finish this way?
Okay.
Nah, can you finish this way?
Yeah, let's finish this.
All right. I'll finish this way. You can do whatever way. If you prefer not to do it this way, do it the other way that we just did it and compare your answers to mine. Okay. You will come out to have the same exact answers. So if you hate this way, stop doing it now. Fill in like you did on the last one and then compare your answers to mine. So if you plug in all this into your calculator, 4 times 11, 3 times 0, 2 times 12, and 1 times 8, 76. Okay. Let's do green. Okay. Green comes in first place here. So they get 4 points for first place. And they're in first place 9 times. Green comes in second place here and here. So they get 3 points for second place, and that happens 13 times. They get 5 votes for the first column and 8 votes for the second column. They come in third place. Just in this column. So they have 6 votes that are worth 2 points apiece. And they come dead last in this column. So they get 1 point 3 times for those 3 votes. $90. Blue. Blue gets 4 points, and they come in first here and here. So they get 11 first place votes. They come in second place here and here. So 15 times they come in second. They come in third here. So 5. And they don't ever come in last. So really you can leave that off. 99. Raise this up just a little bit. All right. Pink. Pink doesn't ever come in first, so technically I can skip that. They get 3 points for this column. So 3 times 3. They get 2 points for this column. So 2 times 8. And they get 1 point for this column, and this column, which gives you a total of 20. And they get 45 points. So my winner here should be blue. My winner here should be blue. How many of you prefer the first way? How many of you actually prefer the second way?
It depends how much
It depends.
Okay.
Honestly,
But you still got the same answers either way you do it. So again, I don't care which way you do it. Listen, your final exam is multiple choice. They don't care which way you do it either because they're not going to look at it. They're just going to figure out, did you get the right answer? Okay? They don't care. So, try this one on your own. Then we'll go over it. And then we'll talk about the exploratory questions with this. And we will be done with the section. My goal is to hopefully by next year have some kind of program that I can just upload the notes and you guys can take the notes on the tablet instead of actually using paper and pencil too. I'm tired of print copies. I kill trees dearly. I kill trees. I kill trees.
Me too. Not the same thing.
I ain't never heard of that.
Hey. All right.
Listen.
All right. You already know what I was Wow. Maybe. We'll see.
And it's so let's not do that. You can try to answer as much as you can. We're going to go over those as well, though. This is usually the section of this chapter that everybody likes their colored pencils and their highlighters to, you know, highlight all their A's in one color, all their B's in one color. I'm okay with that. Okay. Your tests in here are all paper pencils. Some people need that color coordination. I don't know if any of you, when you did combine like terms, I used to highlight the things with like terms. Is that what you're doing? Listen, girl, rock it. Your test will be paper pencil. You can rock it on your test just like that. By all means. Okay. I'm game for whatever you need to do to figure this out for yourselves. Because the more you can figure out, the better off you are for your test. I can sit here and pound this into your head over and over and over again, and it's not going to do any good if you can't figure it out for yourself. Bless you. What do we need, like 2 more minutes? Or are we ready?
We're ready.
I'm not ready.
Everybody a second.
Let everybody else finish.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, right.
You didn't have practice today?
I mean, it's supposed to rain at 2. Because last time it rained, we didn't have practice. It was awful. My glasses were all wet and I was blind.
Oh.
Was that the day that I was there and left to go
Yeah.
pick up Riley?
Oh, you know what?
Yeah, it was really starting to come down when I left. I was like,
We'll just do it.
It's not small. Hey, is it okay if I go to work today?
We can just figure it
is it okay if you go to workout today?
Yeah.
Oh, without your
Sure.
physical.
2 times 6.
It's right now. Just get to the walking physical. Where's that? It's over there by Kabuki. Oh, no, that's out there. Yeah. She got like 4:30.
I know that place
was kind of late. That's close late. Can you do it today? That's what I did in 10 days. You do it today. I did it.
Oh, okay, okay.
Let's see there. I'm not making that call.
I'll go. She ain't gonna be there anyway. It's just you today, right?
No?
Oh, she's gonna be there.
Yeah.
Dang it.
I get it. I'm already getting it.
Be with them and be like, I'm not tagging her. I'm not. So do that.
All right, we ready? Yes. All right. So if you did this inside of the table, again, last place gets 1 point, third place gets 2, 3, and 4, which means this first column, D gets 6 points, C gets 12, B gets 18, and A gets 24. In the next column, 2 people voted that way. So A is worth 2 points, 4, 6, and 8. And the last column goes 3, 6, 9, and 12. Excuse me. If I add up all my A's, A got 24, 2, and 3. 29. B ended up with 32. Good.
30.
19.
So who's my winner?
It is
B.
B. Oh, take a look at this question. Does this example violate the majority criterion?
Yes.
Who should have won according to plurality? Who had the most first place votes? A. A should have won plurality. So A wins plurality, but B wins Borda. So yes, the majority criterion is violated. If they would have been the same candidate, it would not have been violated. So the majority criterion that we learned about yesterday, Borda Count does not satisfy that. All right, we got some exploratory questions to talk about, and we are finished for today. Anybody still need this up? All right. Sorry, I made this super small. How many total voters do I have in the schedule? How many did you say? 11. Remember, your total amount of voters. Okay. There's 11 total voters here. So, what's the most number of first place votes that a candidate could receive? How many times could a candidate come in first place? 11. They can only come in first place as many people would vote. So they can only come in first place 11 times. So then how many points in the Borda Count method would those 11 times be worth? 44. Okay, remember, each one of these 11 votes is worth 4 points to come in first place. So the highest amount of points that a candidate could get is 44 points, always coming in first. What's the most number of last place votes that a candidate could receive? 11. It's still 11. You can still come in last every time. So how many points would you get if you were in last every time? 11, because you would get all 11 votes, and each one of those is worth 1 point. How many total points is this entire thing worth? You said what? 110. So we know that the top one's worth 44. The last place is worth 11. Well, then third place is going to be worth 22. And this is going to be worth 33. When you add this up, this is 10. Carry the 1. That's 110 points. This entire thing is worth 110 points.
How do you do those? Right.
Okay. How many points do you get if you're in fourth place? 1.
Oh,
Okay.
y'all did it by like adding A, B, C, and D together. Not like that 2 times.
So hold on.
Wow.
Third place is worth 2 points, right? 3 and 4. Okay. So let's say this entire thing, instead of it being A, B, C, was A, A, A. So A came in first 6, 8, 11 times, which gives them 44 points, right?
Oh, you just add across.
Mm-hmm. So if these were all B's, B would get 11 times, and they're each worth 3 points, which would give them 33 total. If these were all C's, 2 points for each C is 22 points. And if these were all D's, 1 point for each one of those. So the top row's worth 44 points. The middle row's worth 33. This row's worth 22. This row's worth 11, which is a total of 110 for the whole chart. Okay. Does that make sense? Y'all got really quiet on me.
Yeah.
Okay. I just normally when you go silent, it's yes, I totally get this, or I am so lost and I do not want to answer or ask you a question. Okay. We're gonna practice some more. All right. Consider an election of 3 candidates. How many points is given for each place in a ballot? So how many places do I have? 3. So we've got first place, second place, third place. How many points do I get for being in third? 1 point. How many do I get for being in second? 2. And how many do I get for being in first?
3.
3. Okay, so that's all they want for 7. So if first is worth 3, second is worth 2, and 3 is worth 1, how many total points do I give out on one ballot? 6. You get 3 points for first, 2 points for second, 1 point for last, which is 6 total points. Okay. Now, if I have 20 voters that each give out 6 total points, how many is the whole thing worth? Remember, my ballot is worth 6 points. Tanya's ballot's worth 6 points. Latrice's ballot's worth 6 points. 120. Each person's giving out 6 points, and we've got 20 people, so we have 120 points in the whole thing.
It's just the wording, to be honest.
And that's going to be the tricky part. Is, of course, you know how it always works. We've got to word it weird ways. Even though you know what you're doing, you're going to look at it like it's a foreign language and go, I have no clue what that means. And that's what I found. It's not that you guys can't do the math. It's hard to comprehend what they're asking. Okay? An election with 3 candidates and you have 100 people voting. What is the maximum number of points that a candidate can receive? 300. Okay, think about it. Max. If it's max, what place am I in? First place. And if I have 3 candidates, first place is worth 3 points. Okay, so if I'm talking max, we're in first place. 3 candidates means that that's worth 3 points. And you're getting 3 points 100 times, which means the max number of points you can get are 300. Okay, so you have to decipher the fact that max means you're in first place and how many points you get for that times how many voters. So what's the minimum? If it's minimum, what place are you in?
100.
You're in third place,
Oh, right.
which is worth how many points?
1.
1 point times 100 voters. So you get 100 points. Guarantee you're gonna see this again. Just throwing that out there. Question. Oh, sorry.
Oh, you right so slow.
Shut up.
You just should.
Good. Okay. And an election with 4 candidates. How many points are given out on one ballot?
10.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
right?
You get 1 point for last place,
Right.
2 points for next to last place, 3 points above that, and finally we finish with 4. So you get 10 points.
I knew it.
Okay? So then, if each column, each person gives out 10 points, and I have 60 people, 600. All right. So check out C. So now they tell you A has 110 points, B has 180, C has 90. Well, how many does D have?
$220.
Should have come out to be. No, you're right, 220. 220. I looked at the wrong question. So if I have a total of 600 points, A has 110, B has 180, and C has 90. That means I have 200. You said 20?
Mhm.
You have 220 points left over. Well, those have got to belong to D. Last set of questions. Anybody still need this up? Okay. If I have 5 candidates, how many points is one ballot going to give out?
15.
15. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 to represent all 5 candidates. So that's a total of 15 points. If I have 90 people, each giving out 15 points, 1350 total. C's asking, well, how many points does C have then? If A has 270, B has 185, D has 325, and E has 198. 370. So again, we would do 1350 minus 270 minus 185 minus 327 minus 198 is 370. Be careful though. At this one, it says which candidate would win this election then?
It would be D. I mean not D. No, it would be
It would be C.
yeah.
You just figured out C, his 370 points. Well, the highest out of all 5 of those is C. So C would have been your winner. Is there an easy way to know that if you made a mistake when you were doing all this?
Yes.
Yes. How would you figure that out?
Because the numbers all together.
If you add up all the numbers together, it should equal what that grand total is. Okay. So the sum of the candidates should equal the total points. So that's always a good way to double check yourself and make sure that you did this properly. That's it for notes today. Your homework is back on those book pages again. Oh, I know. That's 11, 12. This is going to look like a lot, but I promise you it's really not that bad. 19 A and B, 20 A and B.
Questions.
Most of these are like
We don't-
this though, where
I was
it's
about to say, we don't have to do A and B for the other one.
so you're going back to your book pages, you're doing 11, 12, 15, 16, 19, and 20, just parts A and B. 23, 25, or 23, 24, 25, and 26, still on chapter 1.
Chapter 1 book note.
Chapter 1 book pages.